Hello and welcome to today's lesson. We're going to dive deeper into Excel analysis. We're going to extract data from the internet and use the data to analyze a few analyses concerning car analysis or the cars the company owns so that we can see how much such extraction of data from the internet can be useful for analysis and to update our records. We're going to extract data from GitHub, from Chad Sluter, who has a sample dataset that can be used for, that is important for this lesson. Okay, let's begin. So first we have to get the data. This is the website link that I have shared in the description. So to get the data, you paste the link or follow the link and click enter. It brings you to this page. What I have to do, I have to copy this file and paste it in a text file. So I move to this section where it's written copy raw contents and I copy them. It is copied. Then I create a text file on the desktop, new text document, and let me rename it to text file, car inventory, text file. Then I click enter. So what I do, I right click and paste. And I have all the data that was on the internet pasted in the text file. Then I click close, save. So the data is saved. Then I open a new Excel file. I'll right click, new, Microsoft Excel worksheet, click OK. And I'll rename it to car inventory worksheet. When I click enter, I click enter again to open the file. Once the file is opened, so the first thing I'll do is I'll import the text file. I click file, open, then it is in the desktop, this PC, desktop. What I have to see, when I check here, we have the file cannot be seen. I have to click all files so that here we are being shown only all Excel files, but I have to show all files. So if all files are shown, this is the file that I need, car inventory. I click open. Then it brings me to the section where I have to format it before it is presented in the worksheet. So it is delimited and it's not fixed width, it is delimited, and we're going to see what that it means. And also the next thing that you have to click is my data has headers. The car ID, the make full name, the model, all that are headers. So make sure that you click that the car has headers. Then I click next. The delimiters are commas. It is a comma separated value. I remove the tabs and click commas. Then you'll see a preview, car ID, the make full name, the model full name, the manufacturer year, and how all the data is aligned. I click next. Then in this section, this screen lets you select each column and the set data format. This is general, the make is general, all these others are general. If we could have had, for example, a date, assuming this is a date and has the format month, date, year, I could have changed here, but here we're just going to use integers, so there's no need of changing anything. Then I click finish. So the data processes and all is compiled in this sheet. And we have all the data. Therefore, we can double click on this between A and B on this edge where it forms the arrow that points to the left or to the right. You double click it so that the whole column is presented here. We also double click this so that all the names can be seen. That's what we need for now. Yes. Now, there are some formulas we're going to use to extract the data that is needed for each section. For example, the make is presented by Ford. Let's say, for example, here it is FD, 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 then GM, General Motors, then we have TY, which is Toyota, then we have HO, which is Honda, then we have CR, which is Chrysler, and HY, which is Hyundai. So this is what we have, the models, the car IDs and the model. All this car ID has the model, the year, the model name, then there is the car number. So FD is Ford, 06 is the year it was bought, MTG is Mustang, and 001 is the car number in the company. So what we have to begin is to extract information about the car. And because we're going to extract information about the car, we have to use some formulas which will extract this information. For example, since the car type is Ford, we're going to begin with extracting the first two letters, the first two characters of this name. And this is how we're going to do it. We type equals sign, then left, because we're going to extract information from the left. Select that. Then which text are we going to extract information from? We're going to extract information from this text in A2, comma. The number of characters we're going to extract are 2, which is F and D. So the number of characters are 2. Then you close the parentheses and click enter. It extracts FD. Then to copy for all the section, you can do that, or if you want it to be fast, you double click this. Then it highlights, the formula applies to all the other cells. The make full name, here we are going to use a VLOOKUP formula. What I have to do is create a simple pivot table so that I can know all the makes that we have here. So I'll highlight this so that I don't leave out any make. Then I insert a pivot table in a new worksheet. That will open a new worksheet. Then I'll click OK. Then what I have to do is select this pivot table, the make, and it gives me the makes of all the cars that we have. So the values, you can put the values if you need, or you can leave them there. So the count of make, we have 7 Chryslers, we have 13 Fords, we have 6 General Motors, we have 12 Hondas, we have 4 Hyundai, and we have 10 Toyota. So I'll remove this so that I only have the make, and type here the names. This is Chrysler, this is Ford, this is General Motors, this is Honda, this is Hyundai, and this is Toyota. Good, we have all the information that we need so far. Yeah, thank you. Now, we come back to the car inventory. So I want to type here the full name of the make full name. So instead of using these initials of FD, GM, TY, I want to use the make's full name. So I'll use the VLOOKUP formula so that I can check information from sheet 1 to give me information. Therefore, equal sign, then I use the VLOOKUP formula, VLOOKUP. What value am I looking up at? I'm looking at this value. Where am I looking it for? Where am I searching it for? I'm going to search in a table array, this table array. So I'll click sheet and I'll search for it in this table array. You select only what is needed from CR Chrysler to Toyota. Select only the sections that are needed. And something else we have to note is the VLOOKUP formula is arranged in ascending order, starting from CR to FD until TY. So for your VLOOKUP formula to work effectively, the data or the information has to be arranged in an ascending order. Okay, I have selected the table array, so I click comma, index 2, and I'm looking for an exact match, so I type 0. Then I click close the parentheses and click enter. Then we have the name Ford. So to get the make full name, what I have to do is use the VLOOKUP formula. I'm going to use the VLOOKUP formula to get what these initials mean. As I've shown you to use the pivot tables, I've used the pivot tables to create the initials or to find the initials and arrange them in an ascending order. After arranging them in ascending order, I have typed the names, what each name means. So therefore, I'm going to use the VLOOKUP formula to extract data from here, which is this model initials. Then this is model full name. Okay, so I come to car inventory. I use equal sign. I use the VLOOKUP formula. The lookup value represents what we are looking for. We are looking for FD. So that is what we have to use first. We are looking for FD. And where are we looking it for? We have to go to the table array that has the data that we need. So I go to sheet 1. I select this table array. So that is what the table array represents, or where we are looking for this. And after finding what we are looking for, where we are looking for, so which column are we interested in? We are interested in column 2. This is column 1 and this is column 2. This is column 1 which has the model initials and column 2 that has the model full name. So I am interested in the model full name, so it is in column 2. Next, I have to either use an approximate match or an exact match. For this case, we are using an exact match so that I can only get information about Ford or Chrysler or Hyundai or Honda or Toyota. There, I have to use an exact match. That's why I have to type 0, because 0 gives me false. 1 gives me true, which gives an approximate match. False is 0, and it gives an exact match. Then I close the parentheses, I click enter. So I have extracted the name for this make. It is Ford. Then I move to the tip, or to the right bottom tip, and double click on this to give me that. So you find what it does, it extracts information about Ford, but here it gives errors. So what I have to do is to lock this cell so that it only extracts information from these cells, so that it does not continue moving to the cells lower than that. So when I lock these cells, let's see what it will give me. Yes, it gives me all that is needed. Number 2, or in this section, now we have to extract information about the model. So the model is Ford Mustang, Ford MTG, which represents Mustang. So I type equal sign, then I move to mid. So I use the formula mid. So the text that I'm interested in is this in A2. I'm interested in the text in A2. Number 2, where are we going to start? The starting number. So I have to count the characters that are in here so that I pick only the characters that are important. So it is FD06 MTG. I'm interested in MTG. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. M begins at the starting number for M is 5. The number of characters that we have to select is 3 because it is MTG. M for M, the second is T, the third is G. So I have to type 3 characters that are needed. Then I close and I click enter. Then you find it extracts MTG. Then I move to the tip of the right, the bottom right, and I double click, and it extracts only the information that is needed. Oh, so what is the model full name? So we have to use also the VLOOKUP formula. First, we have to create a pivot table. Then after creating a pivot table, we will use the VLOOKUP formula to find what is the model full name. So I'll use the VLOOKUP formula to find the model full name. So let me create a pivot table, insert pivot table, but this time I'm going to use an existing worksheet. And where is the location of the existing worksheet? I'll move to sheet 1 and select this section so that the worksheet can be pasted in sheet 1. Then I click OK. So I have the model and I move it to the rows so that it can give me all the models that are needed here. Something else we have to note is for our first model, it is 0 OD instead of only OD. So it means that there's someone that entered the wrong values so that we do not have the information extracted in the right manner. So I go back to order inventory, car inventory, and search for 0 OD. So what I'll have to do is I press Control, I press and hold Control and click F so that it finds what we are looking for. It is 0 OD. Then I find next. Then you find that in cell 41 we have an error. The person that entered the value entered the wrong value. So what I have to do, I have to correct this, eliminate the 0 before the ODY, then click enter. Then what I have to check here, first I have to go to pivot analyze and refresh. After refreshing, you find that the 0 ODY has been updated. So I have to type the model names, CAM, CAR, CIV, CMR, CORE, ELA, FCS, Mustang, ODY, all this. I have to do all this quickly, then get back. Now we've typed in all the model names, CAM for Camry, CAR for Caravan, CIV for Civic, CMR for Camaro, CORE for Corolla, ELA for Elantra, FCS for Ford Focus, MTG for Mustang, ODY for Odyssey, PTC for Personal Transport Cruiser, PT Cruiser, SLV for Silverado. And these have to be arranged in the alphabetical order. So come back to car inventory. So I have to use again the VLOOKUP formula to extract the information and paste it here. So I'll use the VLOOKUP. The lookup value is this, the table array. I select this, comma. The column index that I'm looking for, this is index 1 and this is index 2. So I'll use index 2. The range of lookup has to be exact, so I'll use 0 for false. And I close the brackets or parentheses and click enter. And it gives me the name, Ford Mustang. Once again, I have to lock the cells so that they do not move with the changes. And I click enter. I move to the right bottom tip and double click so that it extracts all the information that I need. Okay, the manufacturer year. I want to extract the manufacturer year. And as I told you earlier, we have first the make, which is Ford. 06 is the manufacturer year. MTG is the model, the model name. 001 is the car number in the company. Therefore, what I'll have to do again, I'll use the mid function. Or if you understand how to use left, you can use it. But what is important here is using the mid function. The text is this. This is the text that I need to extract the information. And I'm going to start at 1, 2, 3. 3. How many am I going to extract? I'm going to extract only 2. Then I close. Click enter. It has extracted the year. The year is 06. This is 2006. So I'm going to use only this 06 value. Then I double click at the right or the bottom right tip so that it extracts all that is needed. One thing you have to note that there are some values that were entered incorrectly. For example, this is fading as 06 rather than 06. So I have to change it here so that the year is 06. This also was entered incorrectly by the person that was entering in the data. So I have to change it to 06 rather than 06. Enter. I have all that is needed. One thing you have also to note that the car year here is 1999. Another change here is the car was bought in 1999. While this is 0606, which is 2006. So you have to take note of these changes. So when we have to find the age of the car, as I've told you, you have to take note of the changes or of the cars that were bought prior to the year 2000. In normal circumstances, I could just use equal sign, and this year is 2022. So I'll take 22 minus, I'll take 22 minus the manufacturer or the manufacture year. Then I click enter. It gives me the car is 16 years old. Then I double click and find the age of the car. Some other error that is noticeable here, rather than the typist give or the data entry clerk giving the year as 05, he entered as 05. So I have to change this. Yes, now the car is 17 years old. Next, I have to change these values that are negative, 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 negative. The age of the car cannot be negative. So as I told you earlier, this is what we could have done. But since there are values that are negative, I have to completely change the formula of finding the age of the car. I have to use the if function. Using the if function to determine the age of the car. So I'll use if. So what is it? What if? What if are we? What are we going to do? So the logical test is if, then I have to input the logical test if 14 or no, if 22 minus 22 minus this is less than 0. So what if 22 minus the manufacturer here is less than 0? You will take 100, that is the condition if this is to 100 minus this, minus F2, comma. So what if the value is false? What if the value is, this value 22 minus F2 is greater than 0? What we have to do is you use a comma and input the value that is needed. Now it will be 22 minus F2. Then you close the parenthesis. So if 22 minus F2 is less than 0, this is what will be conducted, 100 minus F2. So it will be 100 minus 99, like this, this section. Again, it will be 100 minus, for this it will be 100 minus 99 again, 100 minus 99, 100 minus 98, so that we get the age of the car. So if this is greater than 0, this formula, this section of the formula is just applied, 22 minus F2. So we click enter and double click on the bottom right tip, and we find that the section that had errors has been given. So I've realized I also made a mistake in the computation of the function. This is what I was supposed to do. I'll take 100 minus F2, then you add 22 to it, plus 22. Then I click enter. Then I'll try and see. Yes, the age of the car now is 24, which makes sense. Again, the age is 24, that makes sense. Again, let's check this. 23, that makes sense. Great. Now, the number of miles the car traveled per year will be the total miles the car has traveled divided by the age of the car. So this will give you equal this, the miles divided by the age of the car. Then you click enter. So the car travels approximately 2,500 miles per year. I move to the bottom right tip, then I double click to find the number of miles the car travels, and I'd like it to be only 2 decimal places, so I move to this number, and if I want to increase, I'll use this. If I want to decrease, I'll use this. So I want only 2 decimal places. That's good. The insurance company only gives warranties for cars that are less than 50,000 miles. So if the car has traveled less than 50,000 miles, the insurer would give a warranty for the car. However, if the car is it has traveled more than 50,000 miles, the insurance company will not cover such a car. Therefore, I'll again use the if function, and I'll show you something different that I had not shown you. Here in this section, I used the if function, and we realize that what I was doing like this is an integer. These are integers, and these are integers. So I never used parentheses, or I never used quotation marks. But in this section, I will have to use quotation marks because there are some values that I have to enter that are not integers. They are Okay, integers are numbers. They are not numbers. They are alphabeticals or alphanumeric. So I click enter and type if. So if the logical test, if it is less than or equal to, or no, if it is less than or equal to 50,000, I'll type covered, and covered has to be in quotation marks because it is a string, or it is it has alphabetics in it. So if it were numbers, I could have just typed, for example, if it were numbers, I could have typed 0. But since it is alphabets, to eliminate chances of error, I use quotation marks. So I use covered. Then again, I close with double quotation marks. Then I click comma. So what if the value is false? What if the value is greater than 50,000? I'll write not covered. The insurance company will not cover such. Then I click enter. So this is covered. Let's see if the others. Yeah, this is 75,000 not covered. This is 100,000 not covered. So you find that most of our cars are not covered because they exceed the 50,000 mile distance. I'd like us to create a new car ID because there are some things that I'd like to include here. For example, the color of the car. The color of the car. So when I create the new car ID, I'd like to include the color of the car. Now, we want to change the new car ID to reflect the needs that the company wants right now. It wants to include the color of the cars in the car ID. For example, both these are Ford Mustangs. Let's say all these are Ford Mustangs, but one is black, another is white, another is green, another is black, then the other is white. So we have to differentiate the colors. So that is what I'm going to change in this new car ID. First, I'll have to double click this so that this whole column is visible. Then I'll click equal sign, and I'm going to introduce the concatenate formula. So I'll pick this, comma, and the next was the car here, comma. Then I'll also pick the model name, comma. And this time round, I want to include the color of the car, and I want it to be in capital or in uppercase. So I'll use upper. I'll introduce upper. Then the text that I want to pick is the left three letters of the color of the car. So I'll type left, and it's the left of this, and we are going to pick 3. Then I close the parentheses, close the brackets, then I go comma, and also pick the last 3 digits, or the last 3 characters in car ID. So I'll introduce the formula right, right. The text that I'm selecting is this, and I'm going to select only 3. Then I close the parentheses. I think that is okay. Let me check. Yeah, that is okay. Then I click enter. So it has picked Ford, the year of manufacture, the model, and also the color, that is black. If I had not selected this as upper, Let me make a few changes so that you can see if I had not typed in the uppercase. You see that the color will have been black, but it is black with the lowercase letters. So I have to insert the upper so that I have the letters in uppercase. Click enter. So this is the new car ID. Then I move to the bottom right and double click so that all the names are updated. Okay, great. That is our first section in organizing the dataset. So we are going to move to the next section to conduct pivot analysis, and the final section will be creating dashboards in Excel.